There's a by-election on this weekend. You probably know the result of it if you're watching the show after Saturday night. A by-election happens whenever a member of parliament quits or passes away while in office. This by-election is for the seat in the House of Representatives that's occupied by the MP that represents the electorate of Dunkley, which is in Melbourne's outer southeast on the Mornington Peninsula and includes Frankston. Sadly, the Labor member for that seat, Peter Murphy, passed away just before Christmas from breast cancer at the age of only 50. This should be an easy win for Labor. Peter Murphy was a popular MP with the locals. She won the seat in 2019, but before that, it had been long held by the Liberal Party until the electoral boundaries were redrawn in a way that slightly favoured Labor. This is making political analysts feel that this by-election, more than any other, is a real, as they like to say, litmus test for Anthony Albanese's leadership and also for Labor's hopes at the next election and for Peter Dutton's strategy and how he's doing. Despite a passionate campaign by the left, the ABC and the ACTU and others, to make us all believe that inflation is the result of supermarkets and corporations are ripping us off, which it actually isn't. Inflation is the result of government printing money that they don't have to pay for stuff that they can't afford and mismanaging things generally. See last week's show for an explanation on that one. The reality is that at least some smart Aussies know that big fat government overspending is the reason the price of everything is going up and our pay packets and savings are getting smaller and less valuable. But there are plenty of not so smart Aussie voters out there too. That's why the Greens can score 12% usually and Labor can even get elected. And who doesn't love the narrative where you get to stick it to the corporations and the big supermarkets? Even right-wing pollies and independents like Bob Katter and Andrew Wilkie know that there's votes in that. They decided to dress up like little piggies at Parliament House this week to prove it. And the ABC's 7:30 report and Little Miss, I look very serious, so I must be right, Laura Tingle, couldn't resist covering this one.
But when MPs Bob Katter and Andrew Wilkie took to the press gallery corridor this morning, they may have looked silly, but been right on point about the issue on voters' minds just now.
Both sides are on the gravy train, snouts in the trough. Not another country in the world has anything like the concentration where you've got, 90% of the market held by the big two.
I love that image of Bob Katter with he's like my crazy Lebanese uncle, I love him, I really do. But he's wrong. He's absolutely wrong. Only 60% of the market is held by the big two, and they make a whopping 2.5% profit, 2.5% each. No price gouging there, mate. I'm sorry. They'd be better off closing up shop and sticking the money in the bank on a nice 5% term deposit.
The government isn't directly blamed for prices going up, but the perceptions of the way it is governing is seen through this very personal fog of financial pain.
Oh yes, so serious. She's so serious and credible. The government isn't directly blamed for prices going up, but it should be, Laura, you see. Despite yours, the ABC's, the ACTU's best efforts to blame the business community and the evil supermarkets, the question is simply, do enough of the good people of Frankston get the simple fact that inflation is caused by big government and gross inefficiency? Big government is supported by left-wing parties like the Greens and Labor and those who are part of it, like, Laura Tingle and the ABC. Yes, even the now centre-left-leaning Victorian Liberal Party likes big government. So it's time to vote to send a signal by putting conservative and libertarian independents and parties first, the small parties, and Lib Lab and the Greens last, but in that order. In that way, the Liberals will probably win the seat back, but a message will have been sent to everyone, including the Liberals, that we're not happy, Jan.